What's up, everybody? This is just a quick live stream because there are a lot of things that we got to do today. I'm behind on a lot of stuff, so I decided to go live because there's some giveaways that I'm a little bit behind on. If you guys don't know, let's just get rid of the elephant in the room. If you guys don't know, I was in the hospital for a little while. Usually don't talk about my personal life a lot, but this did affect me big time. I had blood clots in my brain. So it manifested itself in April of this month. I had my first migraine ever in early April, and that lasted about 5 days. And that put me like, it really put me like away, you know? Um, it was one of those things where man, I'd never experienced a migraine before. It was really crippling for me. And a lot of people get migraines a lot, no big deal, right? And then 2 weeks later, I got another migraine, which, this time it induced a lot. This is sick. It induced some vomiting. So there were like 2 nights in a row where I was just could not hold anything in. And that's when I called my doctor, and my doctor asked me, which she's part of the story too. She said, "Are you feeling neck pains?" I was like, "Yes, I'm feeling neck pains." She's like, "Go to the ER right away and tell them to give you a CT scan, a head scan." So I got a head scan. They told me, I had blood clots. So they put me in the hospital right away, did, scans of my entire body. Luckily, I am cancer free. So that is great. So it's just the blood clots that we got to, mitigate. They don't know why I have them. I just do. Um, it feels funny for me to be talking about like my personal life like this because I really don't. This is an action figure channel. If you guys haven't figured that out yet, but so it's weird for me to talk about my personal life like this because I usually don't. But this really affected me. It affected the channel too because I really couldn't go live or record or do anything. Like I said, I was behind on giving away a lot of things. But today we're giving away this book right here. So this is from Jean-Francois Roland. It is Star Wars 1978 to 1985, Kenner Toy Line. If you guys don't know about this book, I believe I have links in my description that takes you to two videos. One, it takes you to the review of this book. Maybe they're not there yet, but after this live broadcast, I'll put the links down. So one is to the full review of this book, which tells you about what the book's about. The second one, I really want you guys to watch because it's a full interview with Jean-Francois, and we go deeper into what this book really is and the sacrifice that he had to do to make this book. It's a really interesting story, and I'm really glad I got to interview him because the first time I read this book, the first question that popped into the first thing that popped into my brain was, I wonder what it took to do this, because he's in France, right? And he collects the USA Kenner action figures. I know how hard it is for people overseas, Europe, Australia, anywhere to complete a set of the American action figures. Just like it's hard for me to complete a set of Palatoy or European or Australian figures. From Told Toys from Australia, even Lily Letty from Mexico. It's hard to complete a foreign set. And he did it in the 90s when there was no internet, when there was no, big conventions. It's what collectors call the dark days of collecting. So I see you guys all in the chat right now. Yeah, it took me a little while to set all this up because man, my brain's a little fuzzy. I'm getting used to my medications. I took like 2 weeks off, one because I was in the hospital. There's 1 week. And this next week, I took off just to relax, just to stay home. Like I said, get used to the medications, get used to sort of my new life and, getting used to basically I have brain trauma, which is weird. It feels like I have a small concussion right now. Last week, it felt like a bomb exploded in my head. This week, it just feels like a small concussion. My head's healing. Basically, My head is healing, my body is healing. So thank you all for, Chris Desano. I see you guys in there that are sending me positive vibes, and you guys have been sending me positive vibes all this week. Those that are on my Facebook groups or those that are seeing me in social media. I do post a little bit, not posting too much about what's going on. This is the first time I'm really talking about it. So I see you all guys out there. Thanks for being with me. So let's set this up. I don't live stream that much. But we're really going, and there I am. Yeah, so I don't stream that much. But here's what we're going to do. We are going to give away this book right here live. I didn't want to do a recorded video just because I wanted to keep things really, really easy. If you guys have never been a part of one of my giveaways, here's how I do my giveaways. I put them on the wheel. This is the wheel. So every time I do a giveaway, I have a Patreon group. I also have YouTube memberships. So depending on your tier of YouTube membership or Patreon membership, the higher the tier, the more entries you get. So that's why it's really important for this wheel, because let's say you're my top tier YouTube or Patreon members, you get up to 15 entries, and that's a lot of real estate on this wheel. So that's why membership has its privileges. But if you guys remember, I gave away a case just like that. And a person who was not a part of my memberships got one entry, and that's all it took to win that case. I know I tell that story a lot. It's just because I don't like when people say my giveaways are rigged. They're not rigged. They're just, if you're a member, membership has its privileges. That's just the way it works, guys and gals. But I do want this to be fair. I do count every entry in there. I do have the help of AI to do that, computers to do that, but I do make sure that everyone does get their fair share and everyone does have a chance. You don't even have to be a subscriber to enter my contests. So that's the best thing about my giveaways, is that you do not have to be a subscriber. You can just enter and I call your name, you get the prize. So let's just keep this stream nice and quick, and let's give away this book from Jean-Francois Roland. Here we go. Who is the winner? Tim Bersani. And let me see. I think Tim Bersani is one of my members. Let me see which one he's a member of. Tim Bersani. So first one, yep, he's a member of my YouTube group. So Tim Bersani is a YouTube member. So thanks for being a YouTube member, all of my YouTube and Patreon members, because without you, these videos are not possible. But yeah, I've been getting a lot of you guys just saying, for those of you who just joined, Tim Bersani is the winner. So I'm going to reach out to Tim. Tim, if you know my email at thepadawancollector@gmail.com, email me, but I'll get a hold of you. I know how to get a hold of you. So yeah, Tim Bersani. Hold on, let's just talk about this book for a second. Tim Bersani gets this book. There are going to be descriptions of this video, but if you guys want to look it up, it's called Star Wars 1978 to 1985, Kenner Toy Line. I've done 2 videos about this book. One was a full review, and the other one was a full interview with the author, Jean-Francois Roland. I really want you guys to watch that interview that I did with Jean-Francois. If you guys know how to navigate my YouTube channel, it's under my podcasts, and it's this book right here. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for everybody, who said, like, Chris Desano said, sending you some positive vibes. Dave McConnell, glad you're okay. And Tarek, my favorite, watching Attack of the Clones right now. You know what I did the other day? I went and watched I went and watched The Phantom Menace. I did a YouTube short about it, but what I did, because I couldn't go see it on May the 4th, what I did is, because I was in the hospital on May the 4th, which sucked, but because I couldn't go see it, I promised myself I'm gonna go see it, but I said I'm gonna go see it in the original theater that I saw it in 1999. And it just so happened that the theater that I was gonna see it in was the same actual theater room that I saw the premiere in 1999. And there's a funny story about that. So, and I was able to pick my seat, and the seat was the what I thought was the same seat. So in 1999, I was in college, and a bunch of my friends, it was the first time I really had like nerdy friends who it was cool to be a Star Wars nerd. You know, we they it was the first time in my life, because in high school I never had any friends that liked Star Wars or collected action figures, whatever. This group of friends I found in college, we all gravitated towards, like, collecting Star Wars, and we were Star Wars geeks. So we went to the midnight showing. I had a girlfriend at the time, and she could not pick between Star Trek and Star Wars or any of those things. It was the space movie. We're gonna go see your space movie. That's cool. So went to go see it. In between, she said she had a headache. So it was the Phantom Menace, 1999. The first time I was in see it in the theater. 20 minutes in, not even when the train negotiations were gonna happen and the Jedi just started going, she said she gets a headache and she wants to leave. I actually leave, and my friends are looking at me like, "What are you doing, dude?" So, yeah, I left with my girlfriend at the time. I was like, what, 20 years old, maybe 19 years old. That next morning at, like, I think the first showing was like 7:30 AM. Me and my friends went to go see the 7:30 one. So, I was maybe a good boyfriend, who knows? Like, if I was to do that now, I would say, "Honey, here's the keys. Go, go in the lobby and chill out, or, can you drive yourself home? Here's an Uber. I'll meet you at home." That's what I would have done now. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah, just thank you, everyone. This is gonna be a really short live stream. What's coming up next for the channel is, I'm taking 2 weeks off from doing anything. So tomorrow's video is going to be about um, my journey, because I just completed all of the play sets. So tomorrow, what you guys are going to see are my thoughts on what it took to do that playset run, what I learned, some tips for you guys, because there is a lot of stuff that I learned about collecting all the play sets. You guys are going to learn what I think is the essential number and the essential play sets that you need to consider it to be a complete Kenner run, right? Not a complete Palatoy run, although I did include some Palatoy in my run. This is just the USA Kenner run. So watch that video tomorrow. Then after that, I do a video where I tell you guys exactly what I spent for the entire playset run. It's just like I did with that run right there, right? After I collected it, I let you guys know how much I paid for that. And that was one of my most popular videos. So I'm expecting this one to be really popular, because it is going to show you how much that you should be spending or could be spending for that entire essential playset run. And I say essential because I'm not including variants on this one. And you'll see that video tomorrow of what I define as a complete Kenner Star Wars playset run. Then after that, I'm going to rank those playsets into what I think is the best and not so best. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick stream. I did want to catch up on my giveaways, and congratulations, Tim Bersani. If you guys are tuning in a little bit late, it is Saturday early evening. I am gonna just relax, but I am taking 2 weeks off. So this is an interesting question right here. Do you count the Falcon as a playset or a ship, or it's a little bit of both? What's up, Junk Man? How you doing, man? I saw Junk Man like last year, and I've been wanting to. We're supposed to be doing like some streams together or something like that, and I've been, Junk Man. Now you know why I couldn't do your stream, because I was in pretty much hospital hell doing all of that. But I do consider the Falcon a playset, just like the Darth Vader Star Destroyer. I consider that a ship also, but in my essentials run, the Falcon isn't under a playset run. The Falcon is going to be under my ships and vehicles. But that's a good question too, man, because if you set it up, it's basically a playset, right? Just like the Rebel transport from Empire Strikes Back, basically a playset, right? It's like gargantuan. Do you consider, if you're a GI Joe fan, do you consider the USS a vehicle or a playset? It's like it's both. It's a vehicle, it's a playset. It's under the if for GI Joe collectors, they consider that a playset, but it's a vehicle playset, right? So that's a really good one, Junkman. And so another good one. How do you enter the giveaways? So in my videos, what I'll always do is I'll ask you to type a hashtag. So my last giveaway I did just during a random video, right? I don't announce when I do get. I do announce when I do giveaways. If you're a Patreon member, if you're a YouTube member, or if you're a part of my secret private Facebook group, which I do not advertise anymore. So I will say, hey, I'm going to do an announcement. Here's the hashtag you have to use. Make sure you watch it, but place the hashtag in the comments. So, and I always hide them. I don't say I'm going to do a giveaway unless you're on my, those groups. I tell you when I'm going to do a giveaway, but they're always hidden. And I always do it towards the end or like the middle somewhere. But they're always good giveaways. Like I said, one of my giveaways was that case, the book. My last giveaway was actually, it's tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? I don't know. You guys have to watch my videos. One of my giveaways that I'm doing is it might be tomorrow. I'm not sure. It might be tomorrow, where I give away the Red 5 book, which is hard to get. Like they're not printing them right now, but it was last week's giveaway. It was last week's giveaway for May the 4th. So I did a video on May the 4th, and it's just random, right? I just said I'm going to do a giveaway, but I don't tell you what, but it was that book. So if you want to, that one's still going on. So it's going on until tomorrow. So you can go watch my last video. It's the May the 4th video, and I'm not going to tell you the hashtags. I want you to actually watch it. But you guys can go enter that one. It's, in my eyes, if you're collecting the vintage Star Wars action figures, the Red 5 book, and go look it up. The Red 5 book, it's pronounced Red 5, but it's, they spell it Read 5. READ. So Red 5, go look it up. It's that book that I'm giving away. It's the action figure book. You can buy them on eBay for like $500, right? Because that's how much people are reselling them for. I've seen them as high as $500. I've seen them sell for $200, which is about retail price. But I'm giving it away. The guys from Red 5 graciously gave me a copy. That contest you can still enter. So go watch that video. It was last week's video, May 4th. Junkman says he's giving one away too. Yeah, they don't make them anymore. They will reprint them, but yeah. So the reason why I like you disclose how much you spent, knowing that you spent significant time researching. Yeah, it's like yeah, I tell you guys like what I spend, because I show you guys the condition of what I bought it in, and I tell you how to research it, right? So I don't want you guys just to go on eBay and say, oh yeah, I would spend that. I want you guys to know what the sellers are selling on Facebook for, right? Like if you were to go to me and say, hey, Joey, can I buy this from you? I would say, sure. What I would do is I would go and try to see on Facebook what collectors are selling it for, because that's the most realistic price, right? If I'm going to sell you, let's just say this was a Luke Skywalker action figure. If I was going to sell you a 1977 Luke Skywalker action figure, I'm going to know what the condition is. Let's just say it's like mint condition. If I was to grade it, it would grade an 85, right? Great condition. It looks great. By the naked eye, you can't see any scuffs. It's not a double telescoping one. It's just really great shape. The saber is in great shape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to see what those are selling for, right? Ungraded, loose. Let's just say it's selling for about $100, right? And that's just a guess. Let's just say it's selling $100. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to go on Facebook and I'm going to see what that same action figure is selling for, right? Let's just say I find some for 150 to 175, right? Because Facebook is going to mark it up a little bit. Hakes is going to mark it up a little bit. Like you pay a premium price if you're going to buy them on Facebook. That's why I like going on the Facebook groups to see what those are, the averages being sold for. I know it's a lot of extra legwork, but it's actually worth it. And then I go to my brick and mortar stores and I see what they're being sold for. And it's the same average price about what Facebook is. Maybe a little less because you can barter pretty good on brick and mortars. So let's say like, it's 140 at a brick and mortar. I can barter it down to 120 if I wanted to. I'm not going to get all the way down to 100. That's why I like the Facebook group so much, is because you save a lot of money on those. You are going to pay some shipping. The best way to buy action figures is, you go and find lots. You go and you find out who's selling lots, or you go to conventions, because then a lot of the times you can go to room sales and you can barter and you can, the more you buy, the more you save, pretty much. So in person at conventions, that is the best way to buy. And plus it's more fun because, you're meeting people, but you have to account for airfare. You have to account for travel and food. So that puts the prices at about eBay prices, right? If you figure your travel and all that stuff, but it's the experience that you're really paying for. So how long did it take you to complete the whole collection? So for my action figure line, it took about 2 years. And then for the playset line, it took about another 2 years, right? But it's not like I collect. I try to collect a playset every month, but because those playsets were so expensive, and because there's some hard playsets to find, like the Cantina Adventure set from 1978. That one was really hard to find. That was the hardest one to find. The Cloud City playset was one of the hardest ones to find. And the reason why it was hard to find was because of the price, right? There was a lot of high prices for the Cloud City and for the Cantina Adventure set. I can't spend $1 million on my sets, so that's why the research and the tips that I'm going to tell you guys tomorrow was really important, because of course you can just go on eBay and buy every playset tomorrow for the right price. But the thing with the playsets, in which I'm going to tell you tomorrow, is that there's a lot of idiosyncrasies with these playsets. You have to know what came inside them, like the original state. You have to know the condition, like what the different conditions are. And then after that, it's the boxes, it's the inserts, if you're going to get it complete, like unused contents, what the baggies were like what does a sealed baggie look like, and the adhesive. And if they came with action figures, what original boxes and baggies did those action figures come with? Because a lot of the times, and here's one thing that's really important, if you're buying these play sets from a collector or a person who's selling this to you, a lot of the times they don't know what they're selling, right? That's why I like selling from trusted collectors, people who actually collect, and collectors who may do this for for monetary gain, right? Because there's collectors out there who go and they buy lots, sometimes in pristine condition, not so pristine. But the collectors who do know their stuff, who do go and look for these because they want to resell, I don't mind paying a little higher premium, not a huge premium, but a little higher premium because they know what they're talking about. They know what's the right price that they should charge for the condition of that playset. And there's a handful of collectors that I will call personally to ask them, do you have this? Or what is the right price for that? So, a lot of the times, about 80% of the time, that was how I got these play sets. So let me see, Chris. I haven't dug that deep into Palatoy yet. I know about the Death Star Cantina Droid Factory. Did they do any others? So they did do the Death Star. They did the Cantina. They did the Droid Factory. And those were the variations that they did, right? I know there's another one. Maybe I'm forgetting about it. It was the Creature Cantina. I know they did another one of. So which figure was the hardest to get? The hardest figure for me to get was the Vinyl Cape Jawa. Not that there's a lot of them out there, but it was the condition, the condition of the cape, of the vinyl cape, right? Because when a lot of people are selling it, a lot of the times they don't know what they're selling. You have to watch out for people who have cut Obi-Wan capes. So you have to do kind of a microscopic look at it. A lot of the times on the what you call it, whatever this is, the arm part, the armholes, a lot of the times the armholes have been ripped. So you got to make sure the seller takes a lot of good pictures because you don't want to buy a vinyl cape that's, being sold for like, $1,200 or $1,400. You don't want rips in that. What else are you looking for? For a high price Jawa, you want a Jawa that looks great. So mostly you get rubs on the hands. You want the weapon to be the correct blaster. So it's the blaster with the bump on it. And I did a full video on the vinyl cape. So if you want to search that in my whatever, let's see what else. The Palatoy Land of the Jawas is different to Kenner too. Yeah, you're right. So the Palatoy Land of the Jawas and the Kenner one. So the Palatoy Land of the Jawas, they did the vacuum form base, and for the Kenner versions, they did the hard plastic mold. So it's the same thing for the Creature Cantina, and they did the vacuum mold. And the reason why they did that was mainly because of the petroleum crisis that they were having in the late 70s, and because they could not get the Kenner molds in time. It was going to be it was going to be expensive for them to either redo the Kenner molds or have the Kenner molds shipped. And plus, they wanted to keep the prices down in the UK market. So that's why they did the vacuum form, and that's why they did some modifications. It's just like the Palatoy version of the X-Wing, where they stripped out the electronics. That was just to keep the prices down for the UK market, right? They could have added the electronics, but that would have made the retail costs way too high to manufacture and to get the parts. And then plus, by the time it got on shelves, it wouldn't hit the price point that the marketing team thought would sell for parents. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I gotta, what I have to do. Oh, and thank you for, hold on. There's a super chat I'm trying to get to right now. Patrick Burt, thank you for the $10, brother. Hey Joey, I really love the Jean-Francois book. He even signed my copy for me. Thank you for that. That really helps me out. Jean-Francois, the reason why I really wanted to talk to him was because first I met him through YouTube, right? When I was doing my action figure run and my playset run, if you guys have not seen his channel, I think there's a link in the description of this video, or there will be. But if you look up the book, it's connected to a YouTube channel. That's how I discovered him. He has a top-notch YouTube channel, and it gives you all the info you need in short videos. So if you buy the book, there are QR codes that you scan that take you directly to those videos. So it's like you're learning about all the action figures and play sets through here and the stories that he's telling you, but you hit the QR code and it takes you to that YouTube video. He has an amazing collection, man. Like, first of all, the guy has a terrific story, and that I really want you guys to watch the interview that I had with him, because I go in depth about how he got his collection. And like, really, it took him 10 years to do this book. Took him about 10 years, 20 years to get that collection, but it took him 10 solid years to get this book together. And we go through like the trials and tribulations. And like, to me, it was really inspiring, because it's like, if you have a dream, he inspired me to go for your dreams, right? And when people tell you, oh, it's a silly dream, why you doing this? You know, when you have a passion inside you, he attributed it to, when George Lucas was trying to write Star Wars, people were telling him, why are you doing a science fiction movie? Even the actors, weren't really sure if it was going to be a hit. Definitely the people that were on set thought it was going to be a stupid B science fiction movie. And, George was hearing this too. It's not like the studio, even though, they did back him financially, even the studios were kind of wary, even the guys over at Kenner didn't know if the action figures were going to sell, because the movie might be a flop. But when you have a passion inside you, and when you just want to do something, that's why I love this book so much, because that is the product of somebody being super passionate about their hobby, that they made a book about it. So that's why I dig him so much. Um, there was another question on here that I wanted to get to. Oh, who was your favorite Star Wars character? So I have 3 favorite Star Wars characters, and they're from 3 different, like, what I like to say, Star Wars eras. So the first one is Darth Vader, right? So Darth Vader is my first one, just because when I was a kid, I did love Luke. I loved the droids. I loved Chewbacca and Han, but every time I saw Darth Vader come on screen, I was just like glued to him. I love the voice, the mystery, right? I For some reason, I always like bad guys. Like in the Black Hole, Maximilian was my dude. I just love the way he was designed. I love the mystery, like how badass he was. So Darth Vader was my first like real, not screen crush, but it was like, when you're a kid, it's like, wow, Darth Vader, he's so mysterious. I just wanted to get the action figures and the t-shirts. And I had the book, the audio book, and every time his voice would come on, or like, you hear his breathing, it's just like, as a kid, that got me going. And then in the prequel era, it was Anakin Skywalker, just because, like, I loved seeing a Jedi in action, right? And because I loved Darth Vader, I really wanted to see the story from young Anakin all the way the fall to the dark side. And Hayden Christensen, like, I really loved him as an actor. Before I saw the prequels, I had seen a movie that he did called Life as a House. If you guys haven't seen Life as a House, I think it stars Michelle Pfeiffer as his mom and Hayden Christensen. I had seen that right before the prequels. I believe I saw it right before the prequels. I thought he was a really good actor, so I was really excited to see Hayden Christensen. But yeah, if you guys have not seen Life as a House with Hayden Christensen, he's super, super good in that movie. So, Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, and then in this new era of what I like to call Disney Star Wars, it's Ahsoka Tano. If you guys know this channel, if you guys know me, I have an Ahsoka focus. And the reason why I like Ahsoka is because it's really the first time that we see a really young Padawan grow from a Padawan. And yeah, I know she never became a Jedi, but it really shows her go all the way into her 50s. And we really didn't see that with Anakin. We saw glimpses, but with Ahsoka, I think we saw Anakin training Ahsoka. we saw Ahsoka go out on her own. And I know there's books about Anakin that kind of fill in the gaps for us, but I believe that one of the main characters in the Clone Wars was Ahsoka. I think it was about her journey, and I just really connected with that, right? And then meeting Ashley Eckstein, who is one of my, I would like to call her one of my favorite Disney princesses, is Ashley Eckstein. After meeting the voice behind Ahsoka and getting some time talking to Ashley. She is just the most legit person. She loves her fans. If you ever go to a convention, um, she has a really, really long line, and her lines are always long. And there's a reason, because she spends about 5 minutes talking to each one of her fans. So she's really, really good about that. Um, Hey Rich, what's up, man? You're rocking it, rewatching all your videos a second time, man. You know what? A lot of people tell me that they go and they rewatch it a second time. Because there's a lot of info in there. And there's some videos that I'm redoing uh because I watch my old videos and I say, oh, I could have done a better job. But there's a lot of info in there that I've learned so much more on. Um, that I'm going in there and I'm kind of redoing a lot of the info just to make it better. I've gotten better at my, if you want to call it a video techniques. Patrick, yeah, thank you so much for becoming a member, man. So what you get with a membership, you get early access to videos. You do get, I do special announcements for, like, eBay and Amazon giveaways and stuff like that. You will be notified as part of my YouTube membership when I do giveaways. You get extra entries into giveaways, just like today. Tim Bersani just won one of my books because members get extra entries. Not saying that members are going to win all the time, but membership does have its privileges, and then you do get access to me, like, to ask questions and everything like that. So I would say join my Facebook group. That way you get early access, or you get access to the community, the larger community. But I really thank you a lot, Patrick. The reason why that these videos are keeping on going is because of membership like you, man. So thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for watching it over again. Land of the Jawas also doesn't have the escape pod. Yeah, you're right. And they so what Jibber Jab is talking about is the Land of the Jawas from Palatoy does not have the escape pod, and they did that to reduce prices. And the escape pod was plastic molded, and what they did to reduce prices on the Palatoy version is they use vacuum formed. So it was a good way to reduce prices, get that toy on the shelves, and not have parents have to pay the equivalent of like $70 back then. So that way, those items moved. And there's a reason, there's a good reason why Kenner wanted to reduce the prices for the UK shelving. A lot of stores in the UK and Europe were privately owned, right? So for a toy to be on those shelves, marketers had to really reassure the toy owner. Like, if you owned a toy shop and you're putting Star Wars on the shelves and you don't know what Star Wars is, you don't want an expensive toy on your shelves if it's gonna cost you a lot to put it on there. But if it's at a right price point, and luckily Star Wars did so well that those things flew off the shelves, but you kind of know why they wanted to reduce prices, was to make it beneficial for people to buy it at a great price point, but also for retailers to buy wholesale, to be able to say, yes, I will buy 10 of those units, and I know they'll sell. So that's kind of why. Yeah, Elvis, hope you're feeling better, Joey. Thanks a lot, man. This thing has really been weird for me. If you guys are tuning in late, I did talk about the blood clots that the doctors did find in my head. We're treating them. I am cancer free, which is freaking fantastic. Here's one story that I do want to tell. And I do want to say thank you to a nurse. So when I called my primary care doctor, I told him what was going on. I thought it was migraines, um, which I was having migraines, But then she asked me, "Are you feeling neck pain?" And I said, "Yes, I'm feeling neck pain." She's like, "Go to the ER right now and tell them for a head scan." Had she not told me that, had she not told me that, to go to the ER right now and have them give you a head scan, those blood clots, I guarantee, and the doctor said this too, I would have had a stroke. And I'm in my 40s. The doctors do not know why I have the blood clots. They're figuring that out right now. But had she not said that, I would have just thought it was a migraine, went about my life. I probably would not be here, probably past the summer, right? Because I would have had a stroke. So I want to really thank that doctor. She's a nurse, actually. Nurse, if you're a nurse and you're watching this, or your spouse is a nurse, thank you for doing what you do. That nurse saved my life. That nurse could have said, "Okay, go lay down, drink some water. Here's what you do for migraines." But, she kind of nudged me out that door, and I did not want to go, trust me. But she nudged me out the door, and that nurse saved my life. So that's why I'm really, really grateful for all of that. Finally pulled the trigger and picked up an AFA 85 near mint vinyl Cape Jawa. My friend, I know that is an investment, but that is a grail piece, man. Um, yeah, yeah. Carlos Escobar, hi, my friend. Great source of information. Thank you. Yeah, I love researching all this stuff. This stuff is really fun for me. Love your channel. You got me back into completing the original run of figures. 12 more to go. Raging Mando. Here's why I dig vintage. And I've said this a lot before. And I know this was going to be a quick stream. I'll go until I stop. This is fun for me. Here's a reason why I really dig vintage. It's because of the history, man. I love modern action figures. Don't get me wrong. They're, especially like Hot Toys, what they're doing in some of the figures for the Hasbro line, the art and the way that where toys have come, and it's art, basically. I think it's modern art. I think what they're doing for Hot Toys is modern art. I think what Hasbro is doing, especially when they release things like the Ghost, um, things that are really molded and artfully made. It doesn't have to be the Star Wars line either, right? McFarland, um, a lot of these toy lines, I think it's art. I think it's modern art. So that's why I love modern toy lines, is because of where toys were and where they're going now. I think it's just modern art. But here's why I like vintage. It's finite, right? You can only collect so many. If you collect He-Man, I believe that number is 62. If you collect G.I. Joe, that number is 214. Is debatable. If you collect Star Wars, it's 96 with variants. I think 107 is what I have, and what I consider a complete collection is 107, but it's finite. And the history is so cool, man. You can research it so much. There's so many nuances, and it's the collecting community also, that's a bonus. But there's so much in the research, and it's not just in the figures. It's the marketing, how this happened, why it happened. It's the accessories, it's what's paired with what, it's the condition scales, it's trying to go out in the wild, or trying to complete a full set. It's finite. That's why I dig it. It's the history, and that's why I dig it, man. So anybody, I think, if you're getting into this right now, a lot of people said that I came into collecting at the wrong time during the pandemic, because I paid the pandemic premium price, which is correct. I did. I think I probably paid 40% more for my set than anybody else um, previously in history. Definitely, if you started collecting in the 90s, premium time to collect, because you were at the ground base. You probably got the most mint figures and the mint on cards, whatever that you could. But today's prices, I think they're slowly coming down, but steadily creeping up with inflation. I did collect at the wrong time, but there is no wrong time to start getting into it, right? You don't have to buy a full lot. when I started collecting, I probably spent the first 6 months. I know Junkman was on here a little while ago. For like 6 months, I would watch Junkman's channel. I would watch, who else did I watch? The GQ Jedi. I would watch him a lot. I would watch, Blue Harvest Vintage Toys. I'm forgetting a lot of them. Analog Toys, I would watch. Retro Blasting, I would love. Anybody who talked about vintage Star Wars, I would watch. It's called Secret Galaxy now. I would watch a lot of him just because I really dig early 80s and late 70s toys, right? So I would watch them just because I was into it. I didn't even start collecting. I would just watch them. And that kind of got the bug inside me to collect. Just like, you guys have said that you've started collecting because you watched my channel. And yeah, it was because they talked about the toys and they talked about how to collect or what to look for. And it made it easier for me. So that's why I call myself the Padawan collector, because if you start, it's like you're starting with me. I'm going to tell you what I did wrong. I'm going to tell you when I paid too much, but I'm also going to show you like, okay, here's what I do. Uh, here's what I do. You don't have to do what I do, because collecting is a personal journey. Don't let anybody tell you that there is one way to collect. There's only one thing to collect. I know I only collect authentic, but I don't frown if you have to buy like reproduction, right? I don't frown on Stan Solo or whatever. What I do frown on, and I've said this in videos, I do frown on when people intentionally sell me reproduction items and try to pass them off as authentic. And luckily, luckily the times that I have done that, the sellers did it on accident and they refunded me right away, just because they sell non-reproduction, right? And the times that I did make a mistake on eBay, it was right there in the fine print. This is a reproduction accessory. So that was when I started collecting in the beginning. So, it's fun though. It's always fun. Chalupa Cabra, cheers everybody. And if you watched my past videos, Chalupa Cabra has just gave me a very, very minty board game, The Escape from the Death Star. I was just showing my sister. She was just here a little while ago. I was just showing her that board game and how it's basically, she gave it to me, or Chalupa Cabra gave it to me in unused content, unused condition. Good afternoon, Joey. In reference to collection protection, are there any cases for sale that will hold a figure like a Man and his staff in place? Yeah, I had acrylic cases on my desk. Don't know why I had that, but I think I put it away in my collection room. So yeah, there are little acrylics for a Man. It's basically, it will fit a Man. I'll show it on an episode, but it's not a thin one. It's a little bit thicker that you can actually put a Man and a coin next to, and it's acrylic case. I'll put it like on my YouTube whatever you call them, those comments or section, or whatever it is where I can just post things like Instagram. So I'll put it on that. Red or blue snaggletooth, which is your favorite blue snaggletooth? I'll tell you that right now, just because that one I consider a grail inside a collection, because it's just so, I will use this word, it's so rare. Like when I got it, I felt like I accomplished something, right? Because the blue snaggletooth, it wasn't, there is no mint on card snaggletooth. You can only get it with a playset, or if you got it with a 2-pack with Greedo. So I would say the blue snaggletooth, because it's like an adventure. It's like when you get it, it's like you feel like you reached a pinnacle inside your vintage collecting. What's your opinion on cheese? Man, I think cheese is necessary. I think cheese is like moldy dairy. I don't eat it personally, but if I was to go with the cheese, it would be mozzarella first and foremost, mozzarella, just because it's so delicious to eat. You can eat it in string. I think next is blue cheese. I know it's stinky, and and if you eat it with your fingers, it doesn't it doesn't leave an attractive smell. But I am a fan of cheese. Was your wife rolling her eyes when you told her you're making your studio make? Totally, man. I've gotten so many eye rolls from Mrs. Padawan, and it's mostly from this channel, but she understands. It's like eh, eh, sh there's things that she does that make me eye roll, and most of the stuff that I do makes her eye roll. This is one of them. She just doesn't understand. She doesn't understand it. She gets it, and she's gone to conventions with me, and she gets it, but that's not her thing. She supports me and she digs it that I love doing this, but it's not her thing. Glad you're getting better. Stay healthy, Joey. Thank you, Scott. And yeah, health, man. That is one of the things that you got to take care of, man. You got to take care of your health and your family, right? If you're not in tune with your family, and if you're not in tune with your health, everything else just goes away. And I going through this health issue, you really, really go back to the basics and what you're grateful for, right? And the two most things that I'm grateful for, my health and my family. Even though my health is, not terrific right now, the fact that I'm able to get healthy, the fact that I'm able to, my doctors put me on the right path. So that means I'm changing my diet. That means I'm changing my exercise patterns. That means you get more attuned to your body when, people tell you there's something wrong with your body. And I'm listening to that. It's even like your work pattern, you know, really listen to your body when you're at work, or if you're sitting too much, or if you're stressing your body out too much, even your mind. You got to listen to yourself. I'm not a doctor, so make sure you talk to your doctor about everything. But what I'm going to tell you is that be grateful for your family, be grateful for your health. you know Been collecting as an adult since 1992, and I'm still finding dude, that you're still finding stuff that you don't know. Yeah, man. And part of the reason why I know all what I know is from Junkman. Let's just face it. Everything I know I learned from Junkman. Um, but yeah, that's what's so fascinating about this, is that I'm always learning new stuff, and it's statements like that too. Like, if you talk to Gus Lopez or any collector that's been doing this for a long time, there's a reason why they're still in love with it, is because there's always something new to find out. There's always something new to collect. Um, yeah, it's just one of those things where you find surprises all the time. You paid for something that has made you happy in life. Don't think about the money spent. That's so true. That's so true. You got to watch out for the money that you spend, of course. Um, yeah, GQ Jedi, good. Blue also, yeah, those guys are awesome. I've 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 talked to both of them. I've talked to GQ mostly on like Instagram. Like, I'll ask them questions, or like, I think there's always been times where it's like, man, I want to come on your channel, come on my channel, because the reason why I like GQ is because I watched him for such a long time, and he's so knowledgeable, and the dude's just so like laid back, right? He's like, I don't care. This is what I like. If you don't like what I do not care. And I dig that. I really dig that, because I don't like people, or when people say you should collect this or you shouldn't collect that. And GQ Jedi is just like, I don't care. I'll do what I want to do. Same thing with Junkman. Reason why I like Junkman is because he does not give an F. He'll make fun of people out of play, right? But it's like he knows what he's talking about too, and he does it in like a special way, which is entertaining. I do what I do, and GQ does what he does. There's Junkman, but they're so different. Even though they're talking about the same thing, it's like they're so different. And that's what I dig about a lot of these channels. You know, um, is that they have their different style, and I really like that. And I could watch the same video. They can make the same video on the same topic. I'll watch them all because they're so different. That's why I like it. Um, and there's a lot of new channels that are coming out too, which are cool. You're right about the 90s and collecting, Joey. In the early 90s, you can get to a boot fair in the UK. I just found out what a boot fair was, or a boot sale. And you see a loose yak face amongst hundreds of other figures every week. And I remember seeing Yak Face in my comic book stores, and it was selling for about $40 back then. $40 for me back in college was a lot of money, right? A loose action figure for me back in college, they were selling for about $3. I believe my mother bought the Leia figure for me, the Leia Endor figure. I think she spent $9 for it complete. It didn't have a helmet, but $9 for a complete Leia, and it was in great condition. But for a figure like Yak Face for $40, a tank of gas back then when I was in college was $5, right? A lot of money for me. And I was in college, I was paying rent, I was, you know, you got girlfriends, you got, things you got to spend money for. And $3 for an action figure wasn't really in my budget, right? When you got to spend money for food and everything like that. So it was a different time collecting for me back then. I didn't have, a professional job. I was in school. So I wish I would have collected back in the 90s, but que sera, sera, here I am paying the premium price. Everything you said and the buying experience, going to a toy store, seeing the commercials. Yep. All of that too. If I showed my sister some Star Wars toy, I got she would leave. Can you link us to the names you mentioned? I believe the names for I don't know. Follow up and let's see what happens. Why am I spending my Saturday night watching the Padawan talk about cheese? Why not, brother? Why not? What's up, brother? Palatoy Death Star or Kenner Death Star? Man, that's a hard one. I'm not gonna give it up here. I'm gonna tell that when I rank them. That one's hard though. That one's really hard. So I will say which one I like better. That's a hard one though, because they're both so different. They're both designed so different. To me, it's like they're both up there. But if you were to ask me a choice, I'm gonna make that choice. I'll tell it to you on a video. Sir, what top 3 figures would you purchase graded in order to avoid getting a fake? First and foremost, the vinyl Cape Jawa. Second, Vlix. Vlix from Glass Light or Glass Leet, whichever you want to call it, just because those figures are so expensive. The next one is Yak Face. So those are the 3 figures, the 3 top figures that I would consider buying graded just to avoid getting fakes, right? And there's a lot of other ones that you can add to that, but Vlix number 1, Vinyl Cape Jawa number 2, Yak Face number 3. Junkman is a real one, 100%. I don't know, Junkman. Are you real? I'll let you answer that one. 100%. It's your collection. You make the rules. Yeah, 100%, man. You got to. I love GQ's enthusiasm whenever he gets something new. Yeah, man. Dude. Yeah, you're right. It's like when he puts the gloves on, you know something's about to go down, man. You know it's about to go down. Yard sales in the early 90s was gold, like loose figures for under $1. Man, I remember Junkman. I remember going to flea markets in San Diego and seeing figures. And when I would go to flea markets, it'd be to buy clothes, right? I would not go to buy, like, I saw Millennium Falcon sold for $5 over there. And I remember that clearly. I remember telling my girlfriend, hey, look at this. And I didn't get the eye roll because she was really cool back then. And she was like, buy it. And I was like, oh, well, $5, when I can buy clothes that I need. But it was like one of those things where, yeah, you would just see them. In the 90s, in the 90s, I got loose because I thought $20 to $40 was too much for carded figures. Yeah, man. $20 back then. So if you consider for inflation, this is times it by 3, right? $40. And I remember somebody told me, it was actually Jean-Francois Roland, the owner of this, the writer of this book, said that he got Yak Face for, I think he said $40. $40 for a carded Yak Face is a dream these days. Back then, early 90s, like 92, $40, you're saying no freaking way. No freaking way. Are you crazy? But now you're like, toughest decision, man. Whatever that decision was, it's got to be tough. Glad you're doing well, Joey. Your channel is now the premier vintage Star Wars toy channel. Get well soon. My two vinyl cape Jawas say hello. I am jealous that you have two vinyl cape Jawas. I will soon have two vinyl cape Jawas. I'm getting one graded. And thank you that you think my channel is the premier one. But there are like I said, there's so many cool collectors out there, and there's so many cool channels out there. And I really dig when a channel can be so different but talk about the same thing, right? Either they say something else that's different, or it's just their personality and what they bring. I think that's what makes somebody cool, is that they can say the same thing, but they can say it in such a different way that they're entertaining. um am I real? Junkman is AI. See, confirmed right here. Junkman is AI. Junkman is funny. Yeah, that's why I watch Junkman. You never know what you're gonna get with Junkman, right? You kind of know what you're gonna get with me. You don't know what you're gonna get with Junkman, and that's cool. That's why I dig Junkman. Kobe Swap Meet is in. Yeah, Kobe's. Yes, that's where I used to go back in the day. Today it's like collectors get smart, and now if you go to Kobe's, there are some deals, and if you do see a really sweet action figure or something really sweet, you can bargain that, and I've done that before. But I've done so many hunts at Kobe's, and I've never seen anything that I actually need, right? There's things I could get that are duplicate, but yeah, if you're a collector, uh they have like I think vintage theme. They have vintage themes, and there's a lot of people selling Star Wars. So if you're getting into this and you live in the San Diego area, go to Kobe's when they announce like the vintage themed swap meet. Lily Letty Bib Fortuna and Jawa with removable hood, I would get graded. Yes, absolutely. So what he's talking about is the Lily Letty Bib Fortuna. It is the burgundy cape one, and the Jawa with removable hood. And I'm actually doing a video about the Jawa with the removable hood. If I was to get another variant of the Jawa, it would be that removable hood, just because I think it's so cool. And if you're gonna buy it, it is an investment. So I'm gonna try to get a mint one, and yeah, get that one graded, because those things are worth a lot of money. Not that I'm saying that you should go and collect because you want to invest your money, but to me, those things are grail pieces. Like if I got a Jawa with a removable hood, I would consider that to be one of my grail pieces in my collection. So you're absolutely right. Toy Shop Magazine, a gold mine, but you had to mail money order and wait 9 weeks and hope you got it. Yeah, he's talking about getting action figures back in the 90s, and I've heard of that. Jean-Francois talks about that too. I gotta read it before I put it up there. How can you tell if a figure is repro? There are a lot of sites that I use. So if you go to the Variant Villain, if you go to why am I blinking out? The Imperial Gunnery, they will give you photos both of what is authentic and what is reproduction. So that's a really good way to tell if a figure is reproduction, is just by looking at the pictures of what is authentic. That's why I preach in a couple of videos, research before you buy. So the more that you know what an authentic figure looks like. And the Red 5 design book has super great photographs, the really detailed photographs that detail what the country of origin stamp looks like, what the figure details look like. But it's another thing looking at a picture, it's another thing holding it and feeling it. So a lot of the times you can't hold a figure, but if you go and you use those reference books or the reference sites, and they actually tell you what to look for in the authentic ones, and they actually show reproductions, whether they're in the figure itself or whether they're in the accessories, that's the best way to tell if a figure is repro or not, is just to do the research up front. And then you can always take a figure to your local toy shop if you know about figures. I would really suggest joining there's a lot of local groups. So if you just go on Facebook, a lot of the times there's local groups that you can join, like in your city. Like in San Diego, there's a couple like a couple of guys I can call right now and say, hey, can I come over to your house, and I'm gonna show you an action figure I just bought, or show you some pictures. What do you think? That's the best way, if you have a network of collectors, just to say, hey, what do you think? And I've done that so many times where collectors that I trust, I'll send them pictures and say, what do you think? Or if I have a question about a seller, I'll say, have you bought, or do you know anybody who's bought from this person before? It's a really small town, man. Like, vintage collecting is a really small town when you really get down to it. All right, we're gonna end this pretty soon, but I do want to get to some of these. Hey Joey, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor 2 years ago, and I had brain surgery for a year and 4 months ago. I'm feeling as good as ever. Health changes are a part of your life, and you will get through it. Man, Kevin, um, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what you went through right at the moment of diagnosis. I'm reliving when the doctors told me I had a brain clot. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes and have that empathy for what you had to go through, and I can't even imagine, brother, what you had to go through. But thank you so much for the message, and that does mean a lot to me because of knowing what I'm going through, but knowing that what you went through 10, 100 times bigger than anything that I could ever go through. So thank you for that message. And I'm glad that you're doing stronger and better now. I'm glad that me and you are able to connect right now over that message. And, whatever journey you're going through, thank you for giving me that energy that you just gave me right now, because that does mean a lot to me, man. And, man, that really moved me. That really, like, made me emotional, and thank you for that, man. Next time you're in Vegas, let's go toy hunting. Hell yeah, I'm in Vegas all the time, man. I'm in Vegas all the time for work, or with Mrs. Padawan. So yeah, next time, Richard McBride. If you're on my private Facebook group, it's the Padawan Academy. Look it up on Facebook. You will have to answer some questions, but yeah, usually I'll ask, hey, I'm gonna be in this town. Who wants to go hunting with me, or what are the good shops? So yeah, next time I'm there, let's do it, man. I would love to go toy hunting with somebody. Um, I love collecting the Star Wars vintage. I love collecting Star Wars figures and toys from 77 to 85. Have you thought about branching out into other Kenner toys like $6 Million Man? I have actually. I do want to collect. Um, Maybe not other Kenner lines initially, but I do want to do Voltron. I do want to do He-Man, and I do at least want to do the first G1 Transformer line. So I would love to do like the first waves of some lines, just because like I loved them when I was a kid, and I would love to go down that rabbit hole of at least, like, when I did the Star Wars lines, it was such like a high for me. I know I would get that same high doing like the G1 first waves, like GI Joe G1 first wave, or like first 12, or like what's considered to be like the first wave of Transformers or GI Joe or He-Man, whatever. I would love to do those lines. So if I was to do that, it would be like Voltron G1, Transformers G1, GI Joe G1. I think that's what I would do, is do like G1 first wave lines. That would be so cool. Are you going to collect the micro Star Wars line and the 12? Yeah, I'm going to do both of them. I'm going to do the micro line, and I'm going to do the 12-inch line. And that's why I like vintage, because it's so finite. And I have done my collection list. If you guys are familiar with my collection sheets, I have put everything in there, and online you can download my collection sheets. That is pretty much my collection, what I'm going to collect. Um, so if you buy those sheets, if you're a member on my Patreon group, you can get those for free. YouTube doesn't allow me to have it where I can just have my members like click and download. On Patreon, I put those for free for my top tiers of my Patreon. So if you're a top tier Patreon, you can download those for free. But you can check that sheet out, and that's basically what I'm going to collect. Collect them all, even books. Hell yeah. So this book right here, I just gave away to Timbersani. So Timbersani, congratulations. That's why this live stream was supposed to be here. Left Coast in the house. This is the place to be. Yeah, man. If you guys don't know Left Coast, he's an amazing designer, amazing collector, amazing dude. And he's Canadian. And I love the Canadians. I think I've spent more time in Canada than I have in the US, at least driving around and seeing everything there is to see in Canada. Insane Diego, fellow Diego brother collector, Kearney Mesa. Major thoughts. What's up, man? Dude, I was just in Kearney Mesa. Actually, I was supposed to go to Kearney Mesa tonight for dinner, but I got to rest. So, but yeah, Kearney Mesa area has some of the greatest Korean restaurants over there in that area. At Kearney Mesa Convoy, like the best Korean restaurants, the best ramen restaurants, the best. Close friend of mine had a brain tumor and surgery. Happy to say he's recovered brilliantly. Yeah, man, that gives me power, and that I'm glad that your friend, um, glad your friend is recovering, man. It's when your health changes, it really changes the way what you think, and like I said, gratitude. Um, I love your cabinet. I bought one also because you showed me. I bought one also because you showed me. I put all my original childhood figures in it, and I just got my spotless LED light strip in it to get some light in. Yeah, that case back there is made from a company called Collector Displays, guy named Drew. So if you I just saw that there was like a thumb that went up. Whoever did that, that's cool. Um, if you guys ever get a chance to go to Collector Displays website, tell them that the Padawan sent you. I am not sponsored. I am just a fan. I've bought the cases, and Drew was actually kind enough to donate a case to my channel. That's the one that I did give away. So, Drew is just freaking awesome. Hello from Australia, fellow Padawan here. Michael, I almost moved to Australia. So I think that Sydney and San Diego are so similar that in 2008, I went there for work for a little while, and I was so close to moving to Australia. I actually applied for jobs there. It's just such a beautiful place. I stayed on Bondi Beach, and if I ever was to move back to or go to Australia again, um, I would stay in Bondi Beach. What was the figure you messed up the most and overpaid for? Um, I would say Leia, Leia Endor. I know that my mother bought me the figure, but I paid for the helmet. I paid way too much for the helmet. Just for the helmet, I paid $42 for. I believe I paid a lot for man, there are several figures. Let me look real quick. I paid too much for the Rebo action figures, the Rebo band, just because I didn't get them all as a complete set. I had to get the microphone separately. When you buy figures and accessories separately, you are going to pay too much because the accessories are a lot by themselves, especially when you start getting into accessories like the Black Palace Blaster, which costs a lot. I would really, really say if you're going to buy an action figure, buy them complete. And like I said, the way that I have stopped paying so much now is that I just don't go directly to eBay. I go to the Facebook groups, and there's a handful of Facebook groups that I trust. I'm not going to say which ones because I think you should discover them on your own. There's a lot of vintage Star Wars Facebook groups on there that I found a lot of trusted sellers, and I found that their prices to be fair, right? They still have to make some money. They still, you know, especially if they buy lots and they're trying to make money off the lots, whatever. But at least they price fair and they price lower than eBay or what you're going to find in like other like brick and mortar stores and stuff like that. So if I was you, I would really go to the Facebook groups. Love it, Joey. Right back at you, Rick. Left Coast Graphics. If you guys don't know the art of Rick and Left Coast Graphics, you guys have got to go and check out some of his art. He sells great art. He has great pins. He's a great dude in the collecting community. I've given away a lot of his stuff. I bought a lot of his stuff. So go to left. I've seen people at Disneyland rocking his designs. Like I see him in San Diego all the time. Every time I go to Comic-Con or every time I went to Celebration, I just see people rocking his art. So he's a great dude. He's a great dude. Go check out his art, please. Appreciate the shout out first time. Won't be the last time, dude. Everyone is welcome here, man. Like I really like connecting with you guys, and you guys can ask me questions, not just on here on Facebook, but like if you're on Instagram or if you're on my Facebook groups, or even here in the comments, I will always answer your comments. And the comments that I really do like, the questions that I really do like, I'll actually put them inside shows. But I consider this like a community, so it's not just me talking to you, it's us in a community. So that's why I really encourage you to join my Facebook groups, join me on Instagram, whatever, because the conversation just keeps on going. Great stream. Have to log off for the night. Have a good one all. Dama, thanks for joining, man. I know this was a really I don't stream a lot just because I'm not used to streaming, but I really just wanted to get on and give away this book, first of all, because I was behind on a lot of my giveaways. I did mention earlier why I was, and it's because my health hasn't been that great. Michael, I was born in Sydney and currently living in Melbourne. Come back for a visit. Your trouble is imagine all the figures you can buy for the price of an airfare, right? But the airfare to Australia, at least for the points that I have and for the airfares that I get, I've never paid a lot for airfare to Australia. So I'm definitely coming to Australia for sure. For sure. Always buy the figures complete with original accessories. Will save you a lot of money. The Kenner collector. Yep. And the Kenner collector knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's talking about. Richard McBride, buy complete unless it's repro accessories. I don't really buy repro. Well, I don't buy repro accessories, but yes, I would say buy complete. Love being here, and I love having you here, man. I get excited when I talk to people. Do you think they will produce more Red 5 design Star Wars Toy Guides Volume 1 books? Yes, I have talked to the gentleman. They are coming on this show to talk. They graciously, I don't know if you caught this, but if you guys go to the video that I just made on May 4th, you can actually enter to win the Red 5 Designs Star Wars Toy Guide. You can enter that. I forgot what the hashtag was, but go to that video, enter, because they don't make those. They're not printing those books right now. They are going to print them. I think if you go to their website and join their mailing list, they're always updating you, but they are going to release another print. I would love it if a publisher picked it up. That way it's in constant print. I would love it if it was like print on demand. That would be great. But that book, man, can you imagine that book being in downtown Disney or being released by Disney? Oh my God. If that book was printed and released by Disney, that book to me is like the best that you can buy if you're an action figure collector. It's just so well designed. It's so well done. If you're a vintage Star Wars action figure, I think that is the quintessential book, just like the Kellerman book was, right? It's the Kellerman book. Now it's this book. I think it's just like, it's the best. It's the best book. Sir, you have inspired me to restart my 1977 to 1985 collection. Thank you for all the great videos and information. Will you be at the ICCC this year? Yes. Health permitting. Yes. Last year I was invited to host panels. I have not talked to Michael yet. He is a busy man. But if they like, I think I would love to volunteer this year. I would love to go and experience it as a volunteer, and just bring a camera, right? Because last year I went and I hosted some panels. I got to interview Kim Simmons. I got to just be part of that group, because I think this year I would love to go as a volunteer, just because I don't know. I'm going to talk to Michael and see if I can volunteer this year. I don't care if I'm picking up trash or whatever they want me to do, handing out tickets or whatever. I think I want to be a volunteer this year. I think that would be a great way for me to give back and just like be a part of that community. Um, it's hard finding vintage where I live in South Texas. People come from Mexico and buy in bulk. Wow, South Texas. Yeah, I've never really experienced having to buy in South Texas. I went to Dallas Vintage Toys and I bought there, but yeah, that's interesting. Greetings from the Netherlands, bro. Man, I have so many friends from the Netherlands. Hello. Like, for some reason, I love people from the Netherlands. I have a lot of friends from the Netherlands. Um, yeah, so it's just special people, and I love that. I love that. You're always welcome in Ottawa. Come check out the nation's capital. Dude, um, last time I was in Ottawa was probably 2 years ago, but there's a lot of cities in Canada that I love. I love Montreal. I've been to Quebec many times. Montreal, one of my favorite cities. Toronto is one of my favorite cities. I've been to Calgary. I've been to Vancouver, and I've driven everywhere in Canada. I have flown through Canada, but when I drove through Canada, I cannot tell you all the small towns that I visited um, that just escape me. But it's just like a beautiful countryside. It's a beautiful way to see the entire country, and that's why I've spent more time driving through Canada than I have through the United States. It's just beautiful, and the people are just so beautiful too. Um, do you play video games? Right now, I'm replaying Fallout 3. So Fallout is probably my favorite franchise. I love Baldur's Gate. So Baldur's Gate, I'm a sucker for Metroid, anything Fallout. The whole Elder Scrolls series. I've played every Elder Scrolls. I've played what else have I played? I played Mass Effect, all the Mass Effects. So yeah, I'm a huge gamer. I used to direct video games. So like SOCOM, cinematics. I used to direct video game cinematics, and I used to work for Sony PlayStation for a long time. So, eh, like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, a little bit into PlayStation 4 because that's when I left Sony, is when PlayStation 4 started coming out. But PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 is when I directed a lot of video game cinematics. And I also was involved in a lot of the marketing of the video games and the behind the scenes. And I was a motion capture director for a long time. So yeah, I was really involved in directing video games. It was like such an amazing part of my life. And it was such like a maverick part of my life because we were a bunch of young kids in an industry where there was no rules. We were just figuring it out. Like we were figuring things out. And when we figured it out, we would Hollywood would come and we would show Hollywood how to do it. And I remember like DreamWorks, when we were doing motion capture, the team from DreamWorks came because they were figuring out how to do um, that the Something Express with Tom Hanks. Like they wanted to know what we were doing for motion capture. So it was like a really maverick time for not only video games but for filmmaking because we were like on the edge and we were pushing technology that George Luke like we were using the same cameras and the same sensors that George Lucas was using. So we worked a lot with ILM. I remember working with the when I was doing my cinematics for the video games, I was working a lot with Lucasfilm because we were using their animators to do our previs. Right, we didn't use them to do our final animations, but we did them to do our previs. And the previs that came out of Lucasfilm, you would think it was like finished work. They're just so talented, and like it was a privilege to work with like people at Lucasfilm, or like we would work with. I remember working with the special effects supervisor for What Dreams May Come, right? Oscar winners just coming in, and we're young kids and we're working with them like we're peers, and they're showing me how they did the procedurals. They're showing me what they did for the special effects. And it's like the best film school I have ever gone through was working in video games because I learned so much about anything and everything: cameras, lighting, rendering, editing, storytelling, script writing. And when we got the scripts for the video games, they were like regular scripts, regular movie scripts, and you figured it out and you broke down the shots. So it was like the best. It was one of the best times I had in my life, was working on video games. Yeah, the SOCOM series is one of my favorites. Yeah, so if you look on the SOCOM on IMDb, or you look on the boxes of SOCOM, there's my name, directed by, or cinematics directed by me, which was cool. My son lives in Ottawa. Love visiting him. Last from Australia, but too far away from his dad. He may be 30, but still my kid. Yeah, man. I hope you get to see him soon. I hope you really get to see him soon. Sir, do you know if Disneyland will be doing anything special in the park on May 25th, 2024? They're always doing something special on May 25th. You know who's really good about announcing that is Ashley Eckstein. Eckstein. If you follow Ashley on Instagram, she's always telling you what's going on in the Disney parks. That's where I learn what's going on, because there's a lot of Instagrammers who will tell you this is going on May 25th. So I always follow them to get the news. But that is the word. So I'm going to end right here, but I really want to thank you guys for joining me, and congratulations to Tim Bersani for winning this book. Just all I have to do is get a hold of you, and I know how to do that because you are a part of my YouTube membership. So thanks a lot, everybody. I really I really just want to say thank you for everything and for joining me on this Saturday. I wasn't planning on streaming today, but I really wanted to catch up with all of you. I wanted to give away this because I was behind on giveaways. So, guys and gals, thank you so much. I'm so grateful that I'm able to sit here and stream with you guys. So, have a great Saturday, and please watch my video tomorrow. The video tomorrow is me recapping what it took to complete my playset run, my thoughts, my tips, and what's coming next for the channel. So that comes out tomorrow morning on Sunday. So I will see you guys later. And as always, thank you, and I will see you next time.